Are you looking to do contracts all over the United States? Or do you just want to stay in your own backyard? We're going to be talking about how you can expand beyond your own backyard and service your client no matter where they're at within the United States. Hey, I'm Felicia. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and go ahead and like this video. Wouldn't like to expand their business into broader markets, because you know that means more cash flow, right? And so I've helped my clients with this, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how you as a service provider can expand your business all over the United States, or as I like to say, a long distance. All right, are you ready to learn how to take your business long distance as a service provider? All right, let's go. The first thing is it's going to require some preparation. All right, you're going to have to prepare, be proactive if your goal is to play beyond your own county or state, because there's going to be some travel involved. And so you need to be prepared for that. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in this video today. The first thing I want you to look at is boots to the ground support. Here's the thing. If you plan to play all over the United States, like no matter where the opportunity is that you'll provide that service for your customer, then you're going to have some boots to the ground in the local area, because you don't want to have to take your people from your home base all the time or move people from different states to another state to provide the service, especially if it's a long-term service. And here's the reason why. We have to think about mobilization costs. We have to think about per diem, right? And per diem involves, getting them there. So we're talking travel, and hotel may be involved, car rentals, and you have to feed them, right? So they have to eat every day, multiple times a day, which will drive up your cost. So if you know you're going to do projects beyond your own backyard, I highly encourage you to start looking for boots to the ground in the areas that you know those contracting opportunities are coming up. How do you do that? Okay. One of the things we cover in my Contractor's Edge Bootcamp is one, knowing who's your customer. So if you know who's your customer, the next thing you can do is look at their forecast, which we teach you how to do that as well in the bootcamp. But you can look at the forecast and you'll see that, okay, my customer is Core Engineers. They have a project coming out in June in, Tallahassee, Florida, and I'm in Texas. And so if I plan to be at that opportunity, I can start now looking for boots to the ground in that local area and start building a relationship with them. So when the contract comes out, we can bid it. I know I'm going to use, this group of people or whoever, company, however you put it together, but I have boots to the ground that I can use, which cuts out a lot of that per diem and travel cost. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, if the contract is going to call for having a body on site every day, that's another thing to consider, and where you could either have someone locally handle that. It just depends on what it is, the capacity and that type of thing. But here's your options, right? You could definitely find someone local, or maybe if it's a short-term contract, then you may decide to go out there and sit on site every day, because maybe it's just a week project or 2 weeks or maybe a month, whatever it is, and you're okay. And so you may be okay with being away from home for that period of time, and that's cool. But you need to know that, and that's why we cover that inside the Contractor's Edge Bootcamp as we look at your business preferences. You have to know your business inside and out as you start looking at these contracts, especially these long distance contracts. You have to know your business, your capacity, and things like that. You have to. It's important. Now, the project could call for a supervisor, or a project manager or maybe a superintendent, just depending on what you provide, what type of service, right? And if you know, again, that you plan to do long distance contracts, then you may want to start building relationships with those type of people in those areas. Remember, it stems from 1, you need to know your business preferences. 2, you need to know who's your customer. And 3, you need to look at their forecast so that you can be proactive in this process, especially as you venture off outside of your local area. You're going to have to be proactive. It's important. Now, as you're building these relationships, whether it's with superintendents, project managers, supervisors, independent contractors, day labor companies, staffing companies, employees that you may hire, you name it, you're going to have to start building a relationship with them. And you want the ones that you can trust, because if you're not going to be on site every day, you have to know that those people that you contract with will. You have to know that they will show up every day on site. Not only that, that they will do the work and do it at the quality or standards that is required of you and your customer. So don't think that you can just go out today and build this and tomorrow give them a contract. You can, but I can tell you, you won't have that warm and fuzzy yet here in the gut. And it'll be a nightmare as far as you trying to get some rest. Let me tell you, just don't do it. Prepare, be proactive. If I can't teach you anything else, I should make that one of my, I have a 5-part government contracting framework that I share with you guys in the Contractor's Edge Bootcamp about position, partner, profit, perform, and pace. I really should add proactive. I really should, and just do a whole training on that. I really, really should, because it's so important that you're proactive in your approach as you're going after these contracts that are long distance. Okay. And lastly, I just want to reiterate, I kind of touched on this, but the dependability. I don't care whoever you get, make sure you can depend on them. Make sure they're trustworthy. Make sure they can do the work. Okay. So if you're subbing the work down, say to another small business, and you're going to, have them as your subcontractor, then the things I just covered here, you need to look at for them, like what is their capacity? Are they able to finish projects successfully? Can they manage their cash flow? Those things are crucial, especially as a small business and you're starting to subbing out work. You have to know that they can manage their cash flow. And if you don't know how to do it for yourself, how will you be able to look and see if they know how to do it? Because you don't want them coming back to you all the time saying, hey, we're running short. We can't get any glue sticks. We need the money for that. Can you front us the money? And you're already a small business just getting started into this as yourself as well, that you may not have the financial resources to front them the money, right? And so now we have a problem. So they walk off the project because they can't do it. They don't have the money. You don't have the money. Who is the government coming to? Them or you? They're coming to you because they contracted with you. So don't put yourself in such a position. Be proactive. Build the key relationships that you know you will need before you need them. I hear people all the time saying, oh, I'm just going to wait until I see a contract to bid or until the contract is awarded and then I'll start looking. It's too late. Don't wait. I'm trying to tell you the best way to do this. Hear me. I've heard the horror stories. I've been on site and saw some of the horror stories. So you don't want to do that. Be proactive. Be proactive. I cannot stress that enough. All right. Comment below and let us know if this video was helpful for you. And if you plan to do long distance contracts, let us know. Yes or no, no or yes. Do you plan to do long distance contracts? Let us know. All right. So let's recap really quickly of what you want to be mindful of as you venture off into these long distance contracts. And long distance can be whatever it is for you. If long distance is 2 hours away, 4 hours away, whatever it looks like for you, you need to know what that looks like. For example, even if you're thinking about, oh, well, I can just drive, and it's only 4 hours and I'll come home, every night. right? Or it's 2 hours and I'll come home every night. That's fine and good as long as the weather's good, right? If you're someplace where it may snow or ice, now what, right? So you have to think about that, because if you go home and then it snows, you can't get there tomorrow, all of that. So you have to think about all of the variables, dynamics of what you're doing, okay? So let's recap. The first thing is, if you plan to do long distance contracts, it's going to require preparation. Preparation. I could add that to the P's too, maybe. I don't know. Secondly, you want to have boots to the ground support. Boots to the ground support. Third, you want to be mindful of costs. Those costs of per diem, travel costs, hotel, car rental, things like that. The fourth thing you want to be mindful of, if the type of work you do, it requires that you have someone on site every day, then you have to think about that in turn, moving into who would that be? Is it a superintendent? Is it a project manager? Is it a supervisor? Because their pay scales are probably all going to be different. And so you need to know what that cost is going to be as well, and who's going to sit in that position that you can trust. Start building relationships. Don't wait. Start building the relationships so that you can have those relationships, that you can trust the people, that they will deliver on their promise, that they'll do quality work, that they can manage their money, that they can manage their people as well. And they have people that they can depend on to do the work if it's going to entail multiple people from their company. And then also, if it's going to be subcontractors that you're going to use as well, whatever the mixture is, start preparing for it. Start building those relationships. Build them before you need them. I tell you guys all the time, get into some type of CRM, contact records management system. I love Pipedrive. I maybe should do a training on it. Maybe I will, but I'll put the link down below. And I think with my link, you get I don't remember, a trial period anyway, just so you know. But definitely check it out. It's great for managing what I'm talking about here today and making sure you're building that relationship, because it'll put those reminders and things like that. I'm sure you know that. I'm not going to dive deep into that here, but you have to have that conversation, just like any other relationship, right? It's going to take some back and forth conversation and time to build the relationship, cultivate it, and make sure it's a relationship that you can trust. Okay. All right. So there you have it. Make sure, again, if this is your first time here, go ahead, subscribe to this channel. Like the video. If you have not done that, you can turn on the notification bell so you get notified when we go live on Tuesdays and drop new videos on Thursdays. And I'm going to take it a step further today and ask you and encourage you, share this video out with someone that whether it's a friend, a colleague, someone thinking about getting into government contracting or starting a business at all. If they're going to do it long distance, they need to know this. So share this video out. It'll cost you nothing but a click. That's it. All right. And just remember, you're just one contract away. So I'll see you right back here real soon. Bye for now.